passing on the wisdom. Grandfather, you have been here for many years. Can you please tell me what you see? Child, you have been here not as long as I, but you see what I see. You see that all around us is not well. To continue the next 7 generations, we must teach the children. We must point out to them that we need to teach each other. You cannot just tell them the way. You must show them how to identify the plants that we eat. You must show them how to identify the medicine for healing. You must show them the importance in how we all vibrate together. You must show the children by placing soil in their hands. You must continue the story as the soil runs through their fingers. This soil is their ancestors. Only 1 inch is 500 years. You must show them how to heal our mother. You must show them how to heal our waters and our air. You must show them how to heal the plants we walk upon, they eat and use for medicine. Your wisdom cannot be wasted on those of old. Knowledge must be taught by those who know to those who are young. This knowledge and wisdom must be shown to the children. It is never too late to teach the children. The children are always willing to learn what we teach them. What you teach this new generation will heal for the next 7 generations. Notice my bark. It is brittle and full of holes. Notice my leaves. They droop and are discolored. Notice my roots. They are brittle and weak. In my 500 years, I have seen many things. I know my purpose is to cleanse the air we breathe and filter the water we drink. As I filter the air, I am tired as though I cannot breathe. As I drink the water, I am sick and do not want to drink. You see this in me. You see this in my bark and my leaves and my roots that are above the ground. You see that the fruit that I give is sick. At times, I cannot even produce fruit. There are times that I feel weak, and there are times that my fruit does not bear fruit. My brothers and sisters cannot withstand the heat, cold, or storms. My brothers and sisters are not lasting as long as I. My brothers and sisters are not bearing edible and nourishing fruit. Without my brothers and sisters, we cannot survive. Without my brothers and sisters, this earth cannot continue to protect you. Now we must count on you for our survival, as you have relied on us for thousands of years for your survival. Now that you see what I see, and you know what you see, what will you do for the next 7 generations? I am not here today to explain that we are still here. I am here today for a purpose. We are vibrating on the same frequency. I am here today to tell you that our rivers are not well and our soil is ill. I am here because the Great Spirit has aligned us to see what we can do. I am here to tell you that our birds are dying and our trees are sick and not bearing fruit. I am here to tell you that our food is not food. Our babies and our bodies are sick with chemicals, and it is not nourishing. Our past generations vibrate alongside us, and the generations that will come after us. We see ancestors through our children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. This knowledge and wisdom that we leave for future generations is a gift. We continue what our parents and grandparents have taught us. We have been a continuous community since before the first inception of the early 1500s. The water we drink ran through their ancestors. We have been a continuous community since before the first inception of the early 1500s. The water we drink ran through our ancestors' bodies, through the herbs and food we eat. We are spiritually connected, the past and present. We are in the middle of our 7 generations. We speak of our great-grandparents to our grandchildren. This practice is how we keep our knowledge and wisdom alive. We are still here and our continuous community is still here. My ancestors have been here for thousands of years. We've traveled from coast to coast, from the Delaware River to the ocean. We vibrate with nature. We see the ills of our Mother Earth. What good is it to tell you about our ancient culture if we do not use what we know to help fix what we see? We are always taught that every mistake can be corrected by teaching the children. We have allowed formal education to teach our children and are paying the price for the results. Our community is more than cities and barriers and borders. Our community is the heart and soul of the people who occupy it. Our community lives and breathes because of those who have poured their heart and soul to make it a better place for all of us to enjoy. The fact remains that we are still here. Many have attempted to annihilate and erase our people with a stroke of a pen and assimilate our communities. But little is known by others that we have managed to live on in our words and deeds. Each community that we represent has multiplied and gained strength through teaching, wisdom, love, and support from the elderly to the youth. There is nothing that I can tell you about our precious mother. I can only ask, how can we help? How can we fix this? It's nearly 500 years. In 1524, Giovanni de Verrazzano, a Florentine explorer of North America, in the service of the King of France, encountered we Lenape, who were living in what is now called the Delaware Valley. In 1924, 400 years later, the American Indians finally became citizens of America. Some indigenous people had already become citizens by either participating in the armed forces or giving up their tribal affiliations, or by assimilating into mainstream America, religion, and life. But this act was not retroactive. We were not citizens if we were born before 1924. This did not change until the passage of the Nationality Act of 1940, just 80 years ago. This finally granted citizenship to most persons born on U.S. soil. My grandfather was born in 1919. His military service card from World War II listed him as Indian citizen because he participated in the war. In 1638, the Swedes reached the Delaware River. They lived in peace with the Indians and received no injuries from them, history records. In the history of New Sweden in 1874, they said the Indians respected them, and long after the Swedish power had disappeared from the shores of the Delaware, they continued to cherish its memory and speak of it with confidence and affection. The English of Fenwick's colony, described by Thomas Shrouds in 1876 as the early immigrants finding in the Aborigines excellent neighbors and reliable associates. The relationships brought about marriages between the immigrants and natives, involving the genealogy of a number of families in the Salem 10th, and likewise all of West Jersey. It is always to be regretted that so little pains has been taken to trace the Indian blood distributed in these later generations. And although much diluted, occasionally crops out in features or form. Although black hair, dark skin, and exact graceful form may not always be taken as coming from this line, yet the presumption is a fair one that the parents of such were several times removed were of these people in the manner born. Like the Swedes and Finns, however, their customs in regards to names rendered it impossible to follow families' ascending line, and through neglect, much has been lost in the other direction. In 1978, 340 years later, the American Indian Religious Freedom Act was finally established. This act protected our rights so that we could exercise our traditional religion. In 1978, we finally had access to our sacred sites and to use and possess our sacred objects. We finally had the freedom to worship through ceremonies, traditional rites, such as honoring the lunar calendar of 13 moons. Since 1978, all of the land preservation purchased from private landowners, we have less access to our traditional hunting and fishing. For centuries, we had various places that we frequented for survival as a culture, and now there's limited or no access. The new generations have not had the experience that we had, and this is another form of annihilation. I am not here today to explain that we are still here. I am here today for a purpose. We are vibrating on the same frequency. I am here today to tell you that our Mother Earth is not well. I am here because the Great Spirit aligned us to see what we can do.